Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Modern Church Leader here with my new bud, Greg, who actually has taken over as CEO of the Parable Group. But you've been doing it for a while now. You're 6 years in, and we're going to talk a lot about kind of that journey and the new prayer app that you guys have, and have a good time today. So welcome to the show, Greg.
Sounds good, Frank. Yeah, glad to be here with you today.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Where are you coming to us from?
San Luis Obispo, California.
Oh, I'm in San Diego. We're right next to each other. We should have done this live and in person.
Next time.
So good, so good. Well, man, Parable Group has been around for a long time. We're going to talk a lot about prayer and everything, but I'd love to give our listeners kind of your background and how you got connected with, doing business in the church.
Yeah, sure. So Parable Group was founded by a guy named Steve Potratz in the 80s with a mission to serve Christian publishers and Christian retailers. So that was in a day of lots of Christian bookstores in the 80s and 90s. And so what has continued on over 30 plus years is this mission to get the right message to the right person at the right time to draw people closer to Christ. So when I met Steve over a decade ago in this area, Central Coast, California, where Parable Groups operated all this time, it became clear that I was in similar spaces of kind of local retail, digital marketing, a little bit of software and tech, and that perhaps there would be a day where Steve would need to move on. He was 70 at the time that I took on Parable Group, and that I may be looking for a kingdom business or some way with which to weave business and mission together. Right. So that's kind of how I was on a journey through college and early career of, ministry and mission, and how do you weave kingdom principles into running and operating business. And so still on that journey, but it's an area of passion and interest. But yeah, Parable Group is my main work, and our mission is to serve Christian organizations to spread their message, their story, their content, whether that's an author with a book or a church tech platform that's reaching pastors, really with an aim to strengthen what they're doing and better tell their story. So we're still doing that today.
How did you and Steve meet?
We actually met at a global leadership summit hosted locally in California around 2012, and we went to lunch and got to know each other. And 6 years later, we sat down again for lunch, and I said, hey, I'm in this software tech thing. It's going to get bought out again, just like the last one I was in. I think I want to do something different. And he said, well, I'm looking for someone. And I said, well, I'm looking for something that has a kingdom dimension to the business. And 2018, he transitioned out and I was in.
Yeah, that's cool. So you kind of bought the business from him, took it over. And what did you see in the business? Like, what did you see in Parable Group that you were excited about?
Yeah, just first of all, an amazing team with people that really love what we do, which is to work with local retailers and publishers and to work with Christian ministries. And then there's just that heartbeat for marketing. I love getting the right message to the right person at the right time. And, modern marketing is very technical. All the analytics required to do it right, measure it, help a client get results.
Right.
And then just that, there's a culture, a heartbeat of love for the customer, love for the product, love for the mission. And that's something that over time, I don't think I realized how important and valuable that is, that ethos. And I was very fortunate to inherit a very healthy ethos and a commitment of a team. My leadership team is still in place with all of the team have been with Parable Group for more than a decade, some of them 25 plus years.
Wow.
So it's a really amazing team that has been assembled that I received the benefit of. And, now my role is to kind of adapt and shift and change for where we've been and what the future may hold.
Right. Can you give like a real concrete example of the kind of work you guys do? Like a customer you work with and what kind of digital things you do with them?
Yeah. So a client might come to us and say, hey, we have a goal to grow our audience. Okay, we have 5,000 email subscribers, and it's our aim to bring these Christian resources to these audiences. And
who would a client be? Like, who would give us what kind of entity would come to you with their 5,000 subscribers?
Yeah. So we have a guy named Roy Goebel, who's an author. He came to us with the goal to grow his audience, and he reaches Christians who are interested in growing in generosity. We've done some book marketing for Lead with Prayer. So this book here, they're some really great friends, Ryan, Peter, and Cameron, with this goal to take this book and bless the church with the intersection of prayer and leadership. And so it is a lot of book marketing. We serve some church tech platforms like Planning Center, PushPay, Tithely, those types of organizations who want to reach church leaders. But the specific way that we do that is often leading with value add content, and often through email marketing or social media. So if we can get somebody on, say, an Instagram promoted post that would say 10 ways to increase generosity in your church, that would be to do that requires thoughtful targeting, thoughtful messaging, thoughtful design. And if that leads to a landing page that's going to give that person value, then we'd say, yeah, download, I want that content. Here's my email, send it to me. And the specific, I guess, kind of unique value we bring to that experience um, is can you really measure the dollars going in and then the results coming out?
Right,
Because
right.
it's very easy in marketing to kind of spend a lot and not really know what's working and what's not. Obviously, with digital marketing and the ability to use audience targeting, and track all the way through, you can say, okay, well, this to get a lead would be worth this amount to me. And if I can put a budget that would be very targeted and very measurable, then we can help guys like Roy and some other authors that we work directly to say, okay, for X dollars, we can grow this audience, which we then have other means with which to create value, whether
Right.
that be through more books that we'll write or courses that we'll launch. Or so one course we worked with is the Journey course. It's a beautiful set of content around sexual addiction and helping us go through understanding of that either for ourselves or for someone we're working closely with. So there's many organizations and individuals like that created something, and I want to get the word out and I need help doing it, and I don't have a full marketing team. Can you help?
Right.
That's where we love to jump in.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. Super cool. So then I guess you showed the prayer book. I know that's a current thing that you guys are doing too, but you also, so you jump into Parable Group, you're doing your thing for the last 6 years, and then you decided to go off and acquire another piece of tech, specifically around prayer and a prayer app.
Yeah.
So, I mean, tell us, like, it's fascinating to me, right? Like, your digital marketing for kind of ministries, authors, those kinds of things, and then you jump into,
Yeah.
hey, we're going to add a prayer app into our arsenal. So talk through that. Like, what was that
Yeah.
journey like?
Yeah, there's this book and this visual that really helped us about 3 or 4 years ago called Lead from the Future. And if you can imagine kind of a, upper right quadrant constellation diagram of what's in your kind of near-term orbit and what's in your further, orbit out in the future. And one of those things we drew on a board in a strategic session was some form of faith tech,
Mm-hmm.
right? An app or some digital platform that would serve the church, that would have an audience of people who are hungry to grow in their faith, and something that we could steward as an organization. And at the time, we didn't have specific ideas of what that would be.
Right.
So that was a seed that then led us to work with this team at Echo Prayer. So Echo is the name of the prayer app. It was built in 2015, so it's been around almost 10 years. And it had been launched and done quite well without a lot of activity or investment or really marketing behind it. And so we came alongside them a few years ago and helped the founders do a little bit of marketing and grow their audience, and also serve their audience with some content and recommended books around prayer and that sort of thing. And they came to the end of their time saying, hey, we're not really able to run this anymore. We've moved on to other things. And we had the opportunity to add it to our suite of products. And so, So for Parable Group, it is a new thing to be running a
Yeah.
mobile technology, but it's not new to be serving an audience or to be working in relationship with churches and Christian ministries. But part of what we're now doing after almost 2 years of stewarding this app is to assess what is it and how is it blessing people and how could it bless more people and help more organizations prioritize prayer. So it's an extension of Parable Group's mission and something that we're excited about and excited to share.
Yeah. Yeah. What is it like? What is a prayer app? Or like in the Christian context, right? Like, or in a normal church, it's like you have it's like in my church, right? You walk in and over to the left is kind of the, you know, request prayer, like submit prayer kind of like there's an area, right? And like literally you go over there and you can like write down your prayer requests and put them in
Yeah.
the box. And then, you know, the pastoral staff is going to grab those and have the prayer list. And now we have some tech, but nothing too sophisticated. But it's like that's the prayer list right there. It's people
Yeah.
submitting prayers into a box, and then pastoral staff prays.
Yeah, so there's a process there, whether it's documented and digital or not, there's a process, right? There's an input point, physical card, then those get organized somewhere, and somebody probably
Mm-hmm.
types them out, emails them out. But the way that that's lacking is, do you get notified if someone prayed for you? Maybe the pastor reaches out if it's some acute, I have a surgery at 10 a.m. on Wednesday. Does someone call you on Thursday?
Right.
Ask how it went. Often, yes. But then how would you get updates, right? Other than, oh, do we have Frank's cell phone? Can we email? Who is this person?
Right.
So what if you could actually provide an update via some channel? So I'll just kind of back up and say, well, what is a prayer app and how does Echo Prayer kind of fit into the landscape of apps? There are many apps that are out there that do lots of things. I would say that Echo Prayer is specifically a tool to help individuals manage their prayer list and to set reminders to pray. Other apps have a lot more content that, like Abide and Hallow and Pray.com, they're a lot more content forward, meaning they have lots of recommended guides and people that provide the contents, often some voiceovers that allow you to kind of enter into a meditative experience with the Lord. Really helpful. Echo has built some text-based guided prayers into the app experience, but really the goal is to provide a place for you to kind of have that conversation with a friend on Sunday morning and tell them about that surgery on Wednesday and say, yeah, I'll pray for you. But do we remember? And how can we, be a little more organized around that? So the kind of person that's really drawn to this app is someone that does like lists and does like to track things and likes to keep things in one place. And so Echo is a free app for people to download and begin tracking prayers and getting into also a focused prayer experience. Mm-hmm. So we have this button called Pray Now, and it kind of takes over the screen and you can swipe through the different cards that, for me, it's like my 4 kids each have a card and my staff each have a card, and the different verses. There's a verse that came to mind, and I'll just paste it in and have that be in the flow of the thing that I want to be reminded of.
Right.
But then where there's more is, how do you turn that into a shared experience? And that's really what Echo Plus is, and that has been around for some 5 years. But what we did this past year is expanded it and made it a lot more robust to help Christian ministries better organize their prayer requests.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, makes sense. It's like Tithely giving was a way to take the, physical giving in a basket and make it digital. And this is kind of making prayer digital and putting it on your phone so that you can have your prayer list and be reminded about it. I mean, super simple, but for everyone who's on their phone, you have it with you all the time, and your notebook doesn't remind you. So, your phone will.
That's right. That's right. Well, and like I said, every church has this, or every Christian ministry that prioritizes prayer, every Christian school, every Christian-led business has some way to have people submit prayer requests. It could
Right.
be a WhatsApp group, could be a text thread,
Mm-hmm.
could be an email list, could be paper,
Right.
And
Yeah, we have
so,
Slack, so we have a whole prayer channel, and people
yeah,
post, hey, whatever,
yeah,
surgery or someone
yeah,
passed away or whatever it is, and so the whole
yeah,
company has the prayer channel, and there's a meeting that happens once a week that people can kind of jump into. So
yep.
it's just done in Slack for us right now.
But there you go. It's a system that was designed using software to create a little bit more interaction.
Yeah.
And that's what Echo aims to be, is
Right.
a
Right.
kind of best-in-class prayer management system for organizations that say, yeah, we really want to embrace prayer and weave it through our organization. So let's create an input point where we have a web form where people can say, hi, I'm Frank. Here's what's going on. You can mark it as anonymous if it is a super private thing. And then there's tools to either get that to a staff team or an elder leadership team,
Mm-hmm.
or it can actually go into a church's feed that gets shared with an intercessor team. Um, and then the other thing we can do is like small groups, right? You're sitting around a small group of 10 people, and there's some text group you might be using, but is there one place where we can list those things? And then when I'm praying for Frank, a few days after our small group, he can get a notification that Greg's been praying for him
Right.
throughout the week, and chatter back and forth about it.
Yeah. Yeah. What's been, since you've been connected with Echo for a while, you guys have kind of taken it over the last, couple of years. Where have you seen it, taking off, like, where are you seeing it kind of like people really, enjoying the product? Is it like in churches? Is it in ministries? Like, where's the signs of life?
Yeah. Yeah. Small to medium-sized churches that are really wanting to prioritize prayer. We get
Right.
such great feedback from those pastors who are like, I'm so glad I have this. I mean, even a small church of 50 people, they all just join the group.
Right.
So, well, let's have our prayer group, and everybody in the church is in there. And so churches are a really strong user base. We've got several thousand churches that are using it. I love the missionary use case too. So, you've got people out in the field, and they need a secure place to communicate with their followers, and email updates. I get some mailed letters, and I read them
Mm-hmm.
from missionaries we support. But what if there was a way to interact in a more interactive kind of way? And
Right.
you hear that there's, hey, we're having a real urgent issue right now, right? There's an attack in a city, nearby, or, we're having an outreach tomorrow. Would you pray for us? They can post that prayer. And if I'm either following that feed through the app, or I get emailed those requests through Echo, because we
Right.
added the prayers, and then we click send email and it goes to all the followers, then they can be alerted and then can interact and chatter back and hear the updates and follow along. So the
Yeah, that's
churches
cool.
and missionaries are a real strong use case. A lot of small groups, and we've had a bunch of Christian schools, and then even like a faith-led business. I use it to share with my advisors what's going on with things that I'm working on and ways that I need specific prayer. So I've seen it used a lot of different ways,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of a sign of a flexible platform, is
Right.
different people configuring it for different use cases, some of which you design for, and others of which kind of get discovered.
Right. Yeah. No, I love that. Um, where do you go? Like, it sounds so basic on one hand, right? Like, app-based prayer list, but it's got a bunch of like uh, connectivity and flexibility, and it's bringing the communities together and small groups and churches and all that. So, like, where do you go now? Like, how do you keep improving the tried and true prayer list and making it better in the digital age?
Yeah, well, that's a great question of kind of where this is going and headed. We really want to listen to customer and understand, we believe we're solving a particular problem. Like we talk about the process, right? How
Mm-hmm.
is prayer submitted? How is prayer received, organized, sent, syndicated? And then how do you create the feedback loops? So with that as kind of a primary problem solve, I think philosophically, one of the questions we're asking about an app is whether it should be a special purpose tool for a particular, need,
Right.
prayer and prayer organization,
Right.
and or is there's a role for the super app, like the U version app is a super app,
Right.
right? It'll do
Yep.
many things. And so, and I'm sure you guys have thought about this, from a product perspective with Tithely is what is it? Do you want to create these specialized apps for specialized purpose that don't have a lot of noise? Or is the weaving of content where there are these more guided prayer experiences?
Mhm.
Is that really what the customers want?
Right.
And I think so. That's a big strategic question for us as we kind of look at the other apps and see, what's the engagement in that content, and is there a role for a very specialized tool like this? And that's where I'd say our current thesis is. But with a lot of our relationships with Christian publishers and ministries, there's lots of desire to
Mhm.
provide content. Right now, we're doing a lot of that more through kind of email marketing and communication with our users outside of the app experience, so that there isn't noise. And I think that's the the approach that we believe we want to take with prayer, is that you're using this digital device that is known for being the distraction demon,
Right.
right?
Right. Yeah.
It's the thing that is keeping us from praying because I just am scrolling and
Yeah.
spending too much time doing other things. But can it be redeemed? And can we actually have tech to help us to not get alerted of all the things happening all day long, but actually be reminded to pray at 10 o'clock for my daughter and at 11 o'clock for my son, and actually have the tech help me be a more prayerful person and
Mhm.
abide with Jesus throughout the whole day.
Right.
Can the tool do that? And I think that's what we're looking to really nail, and to do that as best as we can.
Yeah. How's the Echo Plus portion? Because that's like the premium feature set,
Yeah.
the paid part of the product. Like, are you finding people are really interested in those, like the community aspects of it and everything?
Yeah. Yeah. Our subscriber base is growing. So Echo Plus really has two tiers to it. So Echo Plus has been around for some years. It's $15 a year, available in Google and Apple stores. And what that allows you to do is to create a group or create a feed. So think a missionary use case, a
Mhm.
small group, a family, or even a small church could use the tool and upgrade. And if one person upgrades, everybody benefits.
Right.
Everybody gets the free app and can join the groups and follow the feeds. So that's Echo Plus, and that's been going well. And we're sort of improving how people experience that. One big addition we made this past year was to add a web app. So it was mobile app only. So you're typing with your thumbs. And, if you have high volumes of prayers, that gets really hard.
Right.
So that was a big change and addition we made. And we're getting great feedback from our Echo Plus users who have been asking for this for a long time. And then Echo Plus for Ministries is the product that serves churches and ministry organizations and faith-led businesses. And that has a 30-day trial, and it's a $300 a year subscription that gets access to a whole robust set of tools,
Mhm.
including the prayer submission form and a way with which to send out prayer requests through email and such, and all the web dashboard and tools.
Right.
So that's going quite well. That actually just launched a month ago,
Oh,
and
nice.
we did a private beta in the spring, and it's going great. We're having people sign up and get through their 30-day trial, and that's all happening now. So we're just wanting to spread the word, and our goal is that thousands of organizations would use this and be blessed by it, and that we can continue to serve more organizations this way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's super cool. I mean, going from kind of an agency into a software business. I mean, it sounds like you had some kind of background in all of that, but it's a big shift, right? And now you're out there like shipping product. What does the team look like on the tech side of things?
Yeah, so Parable Group is a bunch of technical marketers. And so while we do some work in retail, like we talked about, it's a very technical driven team. We have software, we have retail analytics, we hook in with point of sale data. So we have a pretty strong tech and data background.
Mhm.
And then our digital agency, doing all the tracking and monitoring actually requires pretty strong engineering experience and aptitude. So it's a really fun working with marketers that have the right brain creative and technical teams that have the left brain science, and weaving those two. So Echo as a technical product that's to be marketed certainly fits in our ecosystem.
Yeah.
Running mobile app technology is the new space, and we've been able to work with some teams actually out of Romania who are bivocational missionaries, and we've been able to benefit from their work and their support to help with some of that mobile tech.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, we're on a journey
Yeah.
around Parable Group, running these different things and determining how do we steward this app into the future, and perhaps add to running more apps, or just finding ways we can serve and bless more people.
Yeah, I love that. So good. Where is it just people go look up Echo Prayer on the App Store and they can go check it out?
Yeah, Echo Prayer can be found in Google and Apple. EchoPrayer.com is our website that explains all the different features and such.
I downloaded it today, this morning. I was checking it out. So
Great.
got my first prayer in there. But I got to go check out the Echo Plus portion of it. But it seems super cool. Is there any like new feature sets that you're dreaming up right now that you think you're going to lean into soon?
Yeah, so one of the new things that we've built that is, as these users of the new stuff begin to use it, is the ability to share out prayer requests in batches. And so think of, a large organization that may receive like a Christian radio station, or a large church, or a ministry that's global. They receive maybe hundreds of prayer requests at a time, and then they have hundreds of intercessors. So the problem we've tried to solve there is that not everyone needs everything, because can one individual pray for hundreds of prayer requests?
Right.
So we actually created a batching system that is working and ready, but just hasn't had a lot of activity yet because we just launched it and it's part of the new features.
Yeah.
So I'll be really curious to see how that solves some of those higher volume environments where, you just think, if I'm a user, I'm on your email list, I say, I want to pray. And we get, hundreds of prayer requests, but then I'm actually going to get 5 or 10 that come to me, and I get an email that says, hey, your prayer requests are ready. Would you join us and pray? Pray now.
Right.
And you don't even need the app. You can just open it up in a browser URL. So that way people who are following you or part of your prayer ministry, they don't have to have the app. They can just click a link and they can open up and they can get in this prayer experience and swipe through their 10 cards. And then Frank gets notified that some person prayed for them, right? In a kind of protected, anonymized kind of way, but still, super interesting to create these tools and see how they get adopted and used. So I'll be really excited to see that leveraged in some really creative ways.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
That's cool, man. Well, Greg, this has been great. And thanks for coming on and kind of sharing what you guys are up to, and even your journey into Parable Group. It's great to get to know you and kind of what you've been up to for the last 6 years, helping to build a great kingdom business.
Yeah. Thanks, Frank. Really appreciate the time and appreciate all the questions and the passion, and love what you guys are doing at Tithely and serving so many churches, thinking about the modernization of all kinds of things.
Oh,
so
yeah.
You guys continue doing great work.
Church tech is a blast. Where should folks go? Do you want them to go check out the Echo app or go to Parable Group? Tell folks where to head next.
Yeah, EchoPrayer.com. If you're interested in learning about modernizing the prayer chain, or using an app for your personal or for your organization, EchoPrayer.com. Start there.
Let's go. Love it. Awesome. Thanks, Greg. Thanks, guys, for listening. Definitely check out Echo Prayer, and we'll catch you next week on another episode of Modern Church Leader. See ya.